But monetarists assume that demand for money, that is for transaction and precautionary motives, depends on income. So monetarists assumed that demand for money is the function of income, because they have taken demand for money only for these two purposes, transaction and precautionary. And the simplest equation is MV equals to PQ, that is money and its velocity. It becomes supply of money, price into quantity, this becomes demand for money. So this is money, this side income, this is the positive function, demand for money. Money demand depends upon income, and this is positive relation, and this is the supply of money. Now we are drawing this diagram again. This side horizontal, suppose it is money, and this side income level Y. Demand for money is positively related with income level. This is money demand or demand for money. Supply of money, suppose given, this is suppose supply of money, money supply, and here at this point, suppose this is point E1, money demand for money equals to supply of money, and at this point E1, the income level is Y1, at this Y1 is the equilibrium level of income. If we check at, suppose this point, suppose this is point Y0, at this level of income Y0, people have money Y0 to B, Y0 to B. People have money supply Y0 to B. But they demand money from Y0 to A. It means at Y0, people have more money than they want. People want Y0A money, but people have Y0B money. Thus, they will spend extra money. ये जो एक्स्ट्रा मनी है उनके पास वो स्पेंड करेंगे. एज अ रिजल्ट इनकम लेवल विल राइज, और जो इनकम है वो बढ़ जाएगी टिल Y1. And similarly, if we check at point, suppose this, suppose this is Y2. At Y2, people demand money Y2H, but people have the money Y2G. So people demand Y2H, but they have the money Y2G. So they have less money. जितने लोग चाहते हैं मनी, लोगों के पास उससे कम है मनी, तो उनका जो खर्चा है वो कम हो जाएगा, एंड कॉन्सिक्वेंटली इनकम विल फॉल फ्रॉम Y2 to Y1. Friedman shows that demand for money is a stable function of income. Demand for money is a stable function. If the central bank increases money supply, अगर सेंट्रल बैंक ने मनी सप्लाई इंक्रीज की, it affects interest rate in 3 ways. तो मनी सप्लाई अगर हम इंक्रीज करें, ये वर्टिकल लाइन अगर हम राइट लेके जाएं, देन इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर इसका इफेक्ट पड़ेगा 3 तरीके से. फर्स्ट इज नोन एज लिक्विडिटी इफेक्ट, विच कॉजेज अ वेरी शॉर्ट रन रिडक्शन इन आर. तो जब मनी सप्लाई बढ़ेगी तो आर शॉर्ट रन के लिए कम हो जाएगा. जैसे किसी चीज़ की सप्लाई बढ़ने से उसकी प्राइस कम हो जाती है. सिमिलरली व्हेन मनी सप्लाई विल राइज, प्राइस ऑफ मनी दैट इज आर विल फॉल. सेकंड इज आउटपुट इफेक्ट. बिकॉज ऑफ फॉल इन आर, अब जैसे ही आर कम होगा, पीपल विल इंक्रीज एक्सपेंडिचर, लोग एक्सपेंडिचर बढ़ाएंगे. दिस विल लीड टू रेज आउटपुट, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, इनकम. तो ये चीज़ें जो हैं वो बढ़ जाएंगी. थर्ड इज द प्राइस एक्सपेक्टेशंस इफेक्ट. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इंक्रीज इन एक्सपेंडिचर, अब जैसे ही एक्सपेंडिचर इंक्रीज होगा, डिमांड फॉर मनी एंड हेंस आर विल राइज. तो एक्सपेंडिचर इंक्रीज होने से मनी की डिमांड बढ़ेगी. डिमांड बढ़ने से मनी की प्राइस, दैट इज रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, वो बढ़ जाएगा. Prices will also rise because of the rise in expenditure. This is called price expectations effect. This is the effect of increase in money supply on interest rate. Thus, in turn, ये क्या होगा? This in turn will रिड्यूस इन्वेस्टमेंट, आउटपुट एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट। तो जब प्राइसेस बढ़ेंगी तो धीरे धीरे जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है, आउटपुट है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, वो कम हो जाएंगी। तो इसको हमने ऐसे डायग्राम में ये समझाया है। लेट वी ड्रॉ दिस डायग्राम अगेन। Suppose this is horizontal line money, vertical line. Now we are taking rate of interest R. In the previous diagram we shown the relation between money and income. Now we are showing the relation between money and R. Suppose supply of money is initially it is suppose MS1 or M1, this point money supply, and the demand for money suppose it is demand for money MD1. Initial equilibrium points MS1, MD1, supply of money, demand for money. Equilibrium is at E1 and rate of interest is R1. This is the initial equilibrium point. On the given demand MD1, suppose money supply rises from MS1 to MS2. Suppose money supply increase हो गई MS1 to MS2. This is the increase in money supply. This point is suppose M2. Now what happened? Rate of interest falls from R1 to R0. This is fall in the rate of interest because of increase in money supply on the given demand. Demand is same but supply increases, therefore rate of interest falls from R1 to R0. Because of fall in R rate of interest, demand for money rises. तो demand for money जो है वो बढ़ जाएगी. Suppose it increases from M1 to M2. Because of fall in rate of interest, demand for money increases from MD1 to MD2. This is the increase in demand for money. Now what happened? The new rate of interest, now it is R2 because of rise in demand for money. This is suppose E2 dash, this is suppose E2. Because of rise in demand for money, R increases from R0 to R2. It is to be noted here that increase in demand for money is less than the increase in supply of money. अगर हम ब्लैक लाइंस का आपस में हॉरिजॉन्टल डिफरेंस देखें और ब्राउन लाइंस का हॉरिजॉन्टल डिफरेंस देखें, देन जो ब्लैक लाइंस हैं इनमें गैप कम है कंपैरेटिव टू दिस ब्राउन लाइंस. मीन्स जो डिमांड फॉर मनी में इंक्रीज है इट इज लेस देन द इंक्रीज इन सप्लाई ऑफ मनी. क्यों? बिकॉज अकॉर्डिंग टू monetarists, demand for money is less elastic with rate of interest. क्योंकि हम मनी की डिमांड का रिलेशन आर के साथ बना रहे हैं. मॉनेटरिस्ट्स के अकॉर्डिंग आर के साथ मनी की डिमांड का बहुत ज़्यादा रिलेटेड नहीं है. इट इज़ रिलेटेड विद इनकम, क्योंकि ये ट्रांजैक्शन एंड प्रिकॉशनरी डिमांड को लेकर ही चल रहे हैं, इसलिए ये इलास्टिक ज़्यादा नहीं है. बट अकॉर्डिंग टू केन्स, अगर हम केन्स के हिसाब से देखें, डिमांड फॉर मनी इज़ हाईली इलास्टिक विद रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. क्योंकि जो केन्स है, केन्स ने डिमांड फॉर मनी में स्पेकुलेटिव डिमांड फॉर मनी भी दिखाई है, दैट इज़ रिलेटेड विद रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. दिस इज़ द केन्सियन डिमांड फॉर मनी. स्पेकुलेटिव डिमांड जो है अकॉर्डिंग टू केन्स, इट इज़ नेगेटिवली रिलेटेड विद आर. तो केन्सियन कॉजेशन इज थ्रू आर. तो केन्स ने ऐसे ही बनाई थी, बिकॉज एट मिनिमम रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट डिमांड फॉर मनी बिकम्स परफेक्ट इलास्टिक, विच इज आल्सो नोन एज द लिक्विडिटी ट्रैप. इन केन्सियन सिस्टम व्हेन मनी सप्लाई राइजेस आर फॉल्स, आर कम हो जाएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ जाएगा, अफेक्टिव डिमांड राइज हो जाएगी. इसलिए जो इनकम एम्प्लॉयमेंट है वो राइज हो जाएंगे के टाइम्स. क्योंकि केन्स के अकॉर्डिंग जो इक्विलिब्रियम है इट इज़ ऑलवेज बिलो फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट, इसलिए आउटपुट एम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ जाएंगे. बट व्हेन फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज रीच्ड, अगर फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट आ गई, देन एनी इंक्रीज इन मनी सप्लाई विल रेज प्राइस लेवल in the same proportion. Now policy differences. What are the policy differences? What are the views of monetarists and Keynesianisms? First is the monetarist view. As we discussed in the first part of the video, that according to monetarists, monetary policy is more effective. First, we will show that according to monetarists, monetary policy is more effective and fiscal policy is less effective. Suppose first point is that monetary policy is more effective. We can draw these diagrams again. Now we will draw two panels of the diagram horizontally parallel to each other. This is the first panel and this is the second panel. In the first panel, suppose horizontally it is money, and vertically rate of interest. We will show the relation between money and rate of interest. In the second panel, we are taking aggregate expenditure. Aggregate expenditure, that is suppose X, and its relation with vertically similar R. Because जब भी हम पैरेलल डायग्राम्स बनाते हैं तो जो वर्टिकल पोर्शन है इट शुड बी सेम इन बोथ पैनल्स. What we are proving that monetary policy is more effective. Monetary policy is more effective. We are proving this. And we also know that according to monetarists, demand for money is less elastic with R. And both, even you can say, both demand for money and supply of money are less elastic with R. Suppose this is the demand for money. MD. And initially, suppose this is the supply of money. MS1. This is initial equilibrium at E1, and this is suppose M1, and rate of interest is suppose R1. We are using this equilibrium rate of interest in this diagram, in this panel R1. In this panel, we are showing aggregate expenditure curve. Aggregate expenditure is suppose this elastic. This is suppose aggregate expenditure. This is EC1. At this R, the aggregate expenditure is X1, and this is point E1 dash. This is the initial equilibrium in both panels. Demand for money is MD, supply of money is MS1, equilibrium E1, rate of interest R1, and at this rate of interest, aggregate expenditure is X1. Now suppose money supply increases from MS1 to MS2. जो मनी सप्लाई है वो ज़्यादा हो गई from MS1 to MS2. Now what happened? This is new equilibrium and this is new rate of interest. New equilibrium is at suppose E2. This is point M2 and rate of interest falls from R1 to R0. At this rate of interest R0, if we check second panel, at R0, the aggregate expenditure, this is suppose E2 dash, increased from X1 to X2. This is the increase in aggregate expenditure. Because of elastic expenditure curve, expansionary monetary policy is very successful क्योंकि थोड़ी मनी सप्लाई बढ़ाकर ज़्यादा एक्सपेंडिचर, इनकम, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, आउटपुट ज़्यादा हो गए. It means monetary policy is more effective. Now we will show that according to monetarists, fiscal policy is less effective. Again, two panels horizontally parallel. This is suppose first panel. This is suppose second panel. Variables both sides same. This is money. A relationship with R, and in this panel horizontal axis aggregate expenditure, X, and vertically same R. In this panel, in this diagram, we will show that fiscal policy is less effective. Fiscal policy is less effective, not very effective. Suppose this is supply of money, MS, in previous diagram we are drawing two supply curves and one demand curve. In this diagram we will draw one supply curve and two demand curves. Initially, suppose demand for money is this. MD1, and this is equilibrium money, equilibrium R. This is suppose M1, and this is suppose R1, this is E1. Same R1 we are using in this diagram, this panel. Suppose aggregate expenditure curve is this. EC1 at R1 expenditure is X1, this is E1 dash. This is our initial points: money supply MS, money demand MD1, equilibrium E1, equilibrium rate of interest R1, equilibrium expenditure X1. Now we are using fiscal policy, expansionary fiscal policy. With the expansionary fiscal policy, suppose aggregate expenditure curve shifts rightwards because of the expansionary fiscal policy. This is suppose EC2. Now at R1, if we check, no, aggregate expenditure increases to point E2 at R1 from X1 to X2. This much increase in the aggregate expenditure with expansionary fiscal policy. Now, because of this too much increase in aggregate expenditure, demand for money increases in this panel. When demand for money increases from suppose this point to this point, suppose it is MD 2, this is new equilibrium, new R, M2, and this is R2. Demand for money increases. With rise in demand for money from MD1 to MD2, rate of interest increases from R1 to R2, and this is new equilibrium point. Suppose it is E3. Now at this R2, the aggregate expenditure, the net increase in expenditure at this EC2, if we check at R2, this is X2 dash, and this is E2 dash. Aggregate expenditure will fall from this point to this point, and the final aggregate expenditure increase will be only this much, X1 to X2, X2 dash, X1 to X2 dash. मतलब जैसे ही हम एक्सपेंशनरी फिस्कल पॉलिसी अपनाएंगे तो एक्सपेंशनरी फिस्कल पॉलिसी अपनाने से रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट तो बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया R1 से R2, बट जो एग्रीगेट एक्सपेंडिचर है वो X1 से X2 पे नहीं गया, बल्कि R बढ़ने से ये कम हो गया, और जो नेट इंक्रीज है वो सिर्फ इतना ही हुआ, X1 से लेकर X2 डैश तक, not from X1 to X2. So we say that as per monetarists' view, fiscal policy is less effective because expansionary fiscal policy will raise only rate of interest, not too much increase in expenditure. But expansionary monetary policy will rise aggregate expenditure in greater amount. So concluding, according to monetarists, monetary policy is more effective, fiscal policy is less effective. Now we will check Keynesian view. In Keynesian view, we will show that monetary policy is less effective and fiscal policy is more effective. Now we are drawing Keynesian view. Again, two panels horizontally parallel. This is suppose first panel. This is suppose second panel. Horizontally we are taking money, its relation with rate of interest. Vertically R. In the second panel we are taking aggregate expenditure. X, and vertically same R. According to Keynes, both money supply and money demand are more elastic with R. तो पहले monetarist में ये less elastic थी money demand supply, but according to Keynes they are more elastic. Now suppose demand for money, if we draw it elastic, suppose this is the demand for money, MD, and elastic money supply, suppose it is MS1, initial equilibrium this point, M1, and this equilibrium is E1, M1, and R1. This is the initial point, and this R1 we are using in the second panel diagram. The aggregate expenditure curve is, suppose, in elastic. This is expenditure curve. At R1, expenditure is, this is suppose E1 dash, expenditure is X1. These are the initial equilibrium points. Money supply MS1, money demand MD, equilibrium E1, equilibrium rate of interest R1, and expenditure is X1. Now we are showing in this diagram that monetary policy is less effective. We are using expansionary monetary policy, and we are raising money supply, and when we raising money supply, the money supply curve, this curve, it shifts rightwards. This is rightward shifting. Suppose this is MS2. MS2. So this is the right side shift of orange lines, MS1 and MS2. This is new equilibrium point. M2 R0. This is suppose E2. Now with increase in money supply increases from MS1 to MS2. Rate of interest falls from R1 to R0. And if we check expenditure, this is R0. This is suppose E2 dash, and this is X2. Expenditure increases from X1 to X2 because of inelastic expenditure curve. Expansionary monetary policy is not very useful क्योंकि मनी सप्लाई हमने देखो इतनी ज़्यादा बढ़ा दी, इतनी ज़्यादा एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी करने के बावजूद भी जो एग्रीगेट एक्सपेंडिचर है, इनकम है, आउटपुट है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट है, उसमें बहुत थोड़ा इंक्रीज हुआ है. सो monetary policy is not very effective. Now we will show that according to Keynes, fiscal policy is more effective. Again, we will draw two panels. First panel and second panel. In first panel, this is money, relation with R. In second panel, this is aggregate expenditure. Aggregate expenditure, and vertically the axes are same because of the horizontal parallelness of the diagrams. तो पहले जैसे हमने किया था, पहले हमने एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी अपनाई, इसलिए मनी सप्लाई बढ़ गई, मनी सप्लाई 2 बन गई. तो अब हम मनी सप्लाई 1 ही बनाएंगे. एक्सपेंशनरी फिस्कल पॉलिसी अपनाएंगे, इसलिए एक्सपेंडिचर लाइंस 2 बनेंगी. फर्स्ट सपोज दिस इज द सप्लाई ऑफ मनी. MS, because according to Keynes, demand for money, supply of money, they are more elastic with R. We are drawing elastic curves. This is post demand for money. MD1, initial equilibrium, M1 and R1. This is M1, equilibrium E1, and this is the rate of interest R1. This rate of interest we are using in the second panel. Here, the aggregate expenditure line is, suppose this EC1 expenditure curve, and at R1 this is the level of expenditure. X1, this is suppose E1 dash. Now these are our initial equilibrium points: supply of money MS, demand for money MD1, equilibrium E1, rate of interest R1, expenditure is X1. Now with expansionary fiscal policy, suppose गवर्नमेंट ने फिस्कल पॉलिसी अपनाई. अब हम शो करेंगे कि फिस्कल पॉलिसी जो है इट इज़ मोर इफेक्टिव. विद एक्सपेंशनरी फिस्कल पॉलिसी, सपोज जो एग्रीगेट एक्सपेंडिचर है this shifts rightwards because of the expansionary fiscal policy. Suppose it shifts from EC1 to EC2. Now at this R1 level of interest, the expenditure increases from X1 to X2. X1 to X2. This is suppose E2. तो जैसे ही एक्सपेंशनरी पॉलिसी अपनाई, जो एक्सपेंडिचर है वो X1 से X2 पे चला गया. बट अब हम नेट कितना इंक्रीज हुआ एक्सपेंडिचर ये देखेंगे. जैसे ही एक्सपेंडिचर इंक्रीज होगा, बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज इन एक्सपेंडिचर, डिमांड फॉर मनी इंक्रीजेस, मनी की डिमांड बढ़ जाएगी. मनी की डिमांड बढ़ने से जो डिमांड फॉर मनी है इट विल शिफ्ट राइटवर्ड्स. तो जैसे ही मनी की डिमांड बढ़ेगी, सपोज MD2, जो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है वो बढ़ जाएगा. फ्रॉम R1 टू R2, मनी की डिमांड बढ़ने से. दिस इज सपोज E3, दिस इज सपोज M2. तो जैसे ही रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बढ़ेगा R2, अगर हम यही R2 लेके चलें, जो एक्सपेंडिचर है नेट इंक्रीज इन एक्सपेंडिचर वो फिर X1 से लेकर X2 तक नहीं होगा, X1 से लेकर X2 डैश तक ही होगा. दिस इज सपोज E2 डैश. मतलब जो एक्सपेंडिचर है वो इतना कम हो जाएगा, बट जो इफेक्टिव एक्सपेंडिचर बचेगा, नेट इंक्रीज इन एक्सपेंडिचर जो बचेगा वो बचेगा X1 X2 डैश. मतलब जो एक्सपेंशनरी फिस्कल पॉलिसी है उसने नेट इतना एक्सपेंडिचर बढ़ा दिया, जबकि जो फिस्कल पॉलिसी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी थी उसने सिर्फ इतना एक्सपेंडिचर ही बढ़ाया था. So we are concluding that according to Keynes, fiscal policy is more effective. This was all about the monetarism and Keynesianism. For your further study, you must follow these two sources. One is the book by M.L. Jingan, Macroeconomics. The whole material used in these two parts of the video 1 and video 2 on monetarism and Keynesianism is taken from this book. This is very useful book for a UGC point of view also. And you can also consult the original paper by Friedman and Misselman. It was written in 1963. The relative stability of monetary velocity and the investment multiplier in the United States 1897 to 1958. This is the title of the paper. तो ये जो पेपर है एक एडिटेड बुक में है. This is the edited book in Commission on Money and Credit Stabilization Policies. प्रेंटिस हॉल एक पब्लिशिंग कंपनी है. न्यू जर्सी में एंजलवुड क्लिप्स उनका जो ऑफिस है वहाँ से जो पब्लिश हुई है बुक. तो अराउंड 104 पेजेस का ये आर्टिकल है. both sources are very useful to study the debate between monetarism and Keynesianism. But M.L. Jingan book is in our Indian language. English इसमें काफ़ी easy है, you can easily understand. But when you will study this chapter from Jingan, उसके बाद जब आप इसको पढ़ोगे तो you will also find more details and in-depth details of this debate, the monetarism. Thanks for watching this video.